Jamestown City Council meeting February 20th, 2025 is now called to order. HK, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Pray. Dear Father, thank you for this opportunity to come together tonight and participate in the business of our city. We thank you for this privilege. We thank you for your wisdom and guidance that you give to us as we look out for the best interest of our town. We thank you for each of these public servants who dedicate their time and efforts to make this a better place to live. Thank you for the blessings of this life. We pray that you be with the leaders of our country, the leaders of the world. Give them wisdom and direction in your will, and may we have peace on earth. We just pray that you would be with us during this meeting, and that all of this said and done be in your will. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hope everyone's had time to look over the minutes from the last meeting, so if everyone's okay with those minutes, I need a motion to approve those, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the first thing we have tonight is on our new business is every year for the last how many years, it's been a while, we go into an interlocal homeless prevention agreement with the county in both cities, and that's kind of where we donate money, $1,500, I believe, from each city and in the county to help with the homeless, to help provide them somewhere to stay or money for food or whatever to take care of them until they can get them somewhere. So this is just an interlocal agreement prevention that we've gone into every year. So I just need a motion for approval if you all want to stay in that.
Make a motion, we do it again this year.
A motion by Barry, need a second?
Second.
Second by Tony, all in favor? And any opposed? So that'll be the same. Also, the next thing we have is Resolution 2025-01 on an occupational tax. What this is talking about is they're passing about a bill out to where that your state would take over handling the occupational tax that the cities and counties collect. And what we're doing is trying to send in a resolution against that to where they leave that to the cities and the counties to take care of. Because if the state takes it over, then they're going to charge a fee to do that. So that's just money that's coming out of the occupational taxes. And that's a lot of what your cities and counties run off of. So Tyler, you've had that.
Yeah. It's Resolution 2025-01. Resolution of the City of Jamestown, Kentucky, proposing any bills brought forth here in the 2025 General Assembly session by any member of the Kentucky Legislature in full or in part that provides for the mandated centralized collection of local occupational fees / taxes by the Commonwealth of Kentucky or other third parties. Whereas under Section 181 of the Kentucky Constitution, the Commonwealth of Kentucky cannot impose or require a statewide occupational license tax for local purposes. Whereas many cities and counties across the Commonwealth have enacted and imposed local occupational license requirements. Whereas the receipts affiliated with these funds are recorded to the general fund of the local government and allocated towards providing critical services, including police, fire, emergency services, public infrastructure improvements, and other critical programs and services to citizens. Whereas the City of Jamestown provides clear, transparent, and efficient payment and reporting services to those impacted by occupational license, which is accomplished at the local level by professionals who have local experience and knowledge of their community. Whereas the City of Jamestown strongly believes that the mandated state or third-party collection of local occupational license would be detrimental, ineffective, and would severely affect the physical condition and economic development of Jamestown and all local government entities and mandated by General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Therefore, be it resolved, the City of Jamestown strongly opposes the adoption of any bills into law whole or in part, by the Kentucky General Assembly that provide a mandated centralized collection of local occupational license taxes and urges all members of the General Assembly to vote against proposal of this nature.
I'll make a motion that we adopt that resolution and send a copy of it to Representative Josh Branscombe.
Okay, got a motion by Tony, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mitchell. All in favor? Any opposed? So we'll get that signed and sent in to oppose that, and hopefully we'll find out down the road what they did with that. Hopefully they'll keep it as it is. Now we've got some new business that we're gonna look at. First thing we have on here, if you recall last meeting, Wendy Markham came and asked for a donation for the bicentennial group that Russell County is putting on for the 200 years of Russell County bicentennial. And we kind of tabled that to this month to have a little time to think about what we wanted to donate and to find out a little more information about it. So that's, again, if you all want to go ahead and discuss maybe what you want to do on that. If you want to go ahead and consider a donation, what amount you want to. If you aren't comfortable yet with doing that, that's what we need
Were you
to.
able to find out a price that the video was gonna cost that they're gonna do?
They think it's around $6,000, I think, for the whole documentary of it. They showed just a little part of it at the beginning of the bicentennial, but that was, I think,
I want to say around 7,500.
is it 75
I think so.
now? Because they thought that it was gonna be, first they had sent me 8,000, and then they come back and sent me that it was, they thought it was
I
gonna be
think it was,
6.
I want to say it was a little more than 6, but I'll.
And
see.
she may not have had
Her
an
husband's
exact
sick, so-
amount. Yeah, but that was, it was first 8, and then they thought it was gonna be 6, so.
Is there one video or two? The short clip that Jeff Hoover put on the WJRS, is that the same video?
There
just
is I want to say it's like 7 or 10 minutes.
It's a documentation that Rainey Hutchinson, I think, has went out and done a lot of.
Yeah, I want to say
interviews
it's like
with
7 or
people.
10 minutes,
Yep.
the full version,
The full version of the one
to
that
my
I
knowledge.
think the one Jeff Hoover put on the radio station website was about 5, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah. And that was just the thing they showed at the first meeting, I think, and then this is the full,
Yeah, it was 7,500.
it is 75.
But didn't Wendy mention that the city, both cities and the county could split that?
She
three
said,
ways?
Susan said to make sure that you all know that the one that they played was not the full documentary.
Yeah, that's right.
Documentary. The documentary will be 30 minutes.
But that's, what we saw was part of that.
That's part of it.
Okay.
Yes, 6 or 7 minutes of it.
Yeah.
4 minutes and 36 seconds.
Terry, is the county gonna split part of that? I mean, I don't care to go half or something, or do a third of it, if the county and the Russell Springs and the county wants to do
Go third or something?
The county's already donated 50,000 to the bicentennial.
I know when they contacted me, though, it was the city, each city and the county was gonna try to split the documentary.
She may be using what they've already donated
Could be.
towards that, and I don't know what Russell Springs.
And I don't think Russell Springs has made a decision yet, so.
Sorry, her husband's sick, so I'm trying to translate for her. Okay, the county has already donated the 50,000. She's letting me know about Russell Springs if they decided or not. She said she thinks they're giving 5,000. The city of Russell Springs.
If they haven't done that yet, have they? No, they haven't.
Can we do it as, that we would pay for half of it and Russell Springs will pay the other half?
You can donate whatever amount that you want to. You can set an amount, or you can say you're gonna pay a half or a third, or, I know, you can set any amount that you want to donate to it. That's you know, it doesn't even have to be to do with that. It can just be a
Right.
donation to the county for
You
whatever
can do
amount
it,
you want
or you
to.
can just do it as to like a
Just a
general fund to
donation.
pay for whatever we decide to do, like the actual bicentennial, celebration, which is October 17th and 18th at the fairgrounds. Or you can, there are certain events you can sponsor, like you would be a sponsor of the documentary, with the city of Russell Springs. Kind of whatever you all.
Well, that's what we had kind of discussed at the last meeting, was sponsoring the video, but we didn't know, if the county was gonna put in some and Russell Springs put in some. We didn't know exactly how much that was gonna be, our part of it would be. It would depend on if there was 2 or 3 people, or 2 or 3 entities involved.
I don't know.
In Russell Springs, it's committed to 5,000.
She said she thinks they're giving 5. She was gonna call
I don't
Jeremy.
think there's been no commitment yet. The council's not passed anything yet.
I don't think so, but maybe it was a verbal commitment.
They haven't passed anything yet, because they had their council meeting Thursday.
I was gonna say, I think
Nothing
it was
passed.
this week.
I'm open for ideas.
I think pay for half of it, half of the video,
Half
and
the video, sponsored video.
If you do half, and that's not with the county, if you just do half, it's $37.50. If you do a third, it's $2,500. Or if you just make a donation, that's up to you all.
well, if the county's already give 50, I don't think that they need to be saddled with a third of that too, on top of their 50 is what I'm thinking. So I'll make a motion that we pay for half of the video,
Half of the video, would be $37.50.
whatever it is.
I've got a motion by Dwight to pay $37.50.
Very second.
Barry has second. All in favor of that? Any opposed? Okay. Donate $37.50 to the bicentennial. You won't let her
To
know
the
that?
video, sponsoring the video.
Yeah, the sponsor of the video.
I'll let her know that.
Next thing on our new business is police policy and procedures. And this is what Mr. Kearns, Chief of Police, brought to us last night, gave us the thumb print. I hope everybody's had a chance to kind of look over that and know what the policies and procedures has been presented to us. And Mr. Kearns has, I think, all the information back there too on his laptop. If anybody has any questions, if there's anything, if not, we need to look at getting that passed to accept those policies or procedures. But he's open to any questions that anyone may have concerning those new policies and procedures. Any
Does that need to
questions?
be done by ordinance?
Municipal order.
Municipal order, yeah, just with the motion. Any questions on any of it from anybody? So everybody's okay with everything that's in the policies and procedures that was
Comes straight
presented to
from
us?
the KC, didn't it? So I mean, that's our best option.
There was 2 policies that we carried over, but those were state mandates on the pursuits and the sexual assault investigations. So
Okay.
those were left unchanged, but we had already updated those a couple years ago, so.
And those have to stay as they are, those are mandatory, and then the other is just what was recommended by KLC.
Yes, they were all model policies that were from them.
So if everybody's okay with that, I need a motion to pass the municipal order for the policies and procedures for the police.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's order 2025-01, regarding police department policy and procedures. Whereas the city of Jamestown believes in the importance of providing safe and effective policy to the citizens through the adoption of policies in a clearly established and written form. Whereas the city wishes to adopt as its policy and procedures an attached document titled the Jamestown Police Policy and Procedures dated 1/10/25. Therefore, the city hereby adopts the City of Jamestown Police Policy and Procedures, which is incorporated by reference in the entirety which shall supersede and replace any prior municipal orders inconsistent with the policies and procedures.
Okay, I need a motion
Motion made.
on the second board. We got a first motion by Williams, second by Gill. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for all the work on that. 'Cause I
Well,
know
it was a
it's-
team effort. It was
I know
like
it's-
we described last month. Not every officer in the police department aided in this, so.
And it takes a while to get all that together and make sure everything's by policy the way it's supposed to be and make sure we're covered there. Last thing we have tonight on our, is our appointment to an IDA board. This is the Industrial Development Association that's, we've had, each city and county has 2 members on that board. And you elect people to those positions that you feel like is going to help with Jamestown and have Jamestown's best interest in decisions that's going on with the board or whatever the situation may be. Scott Pierce has been that member for the last, I don't know, 8 years. And then Tom Preston is the other member and his term's not up yet, but Scott's will be up in March. So what we're going to look at tonight is a new appointment to the IDA board. So the first thing that we need to do is to get nominations from you as to who you want to nominate for that position. So that's open to whoever.
I nominate Patty Lamb.
Okay, got a nomination of Patty Lamb by Dwight. Anybody else have any nominations they want to make for that position?
Nominate Scott to be reappointed.
Okay, anybody else? If there's not any other nominations, then what we'll do is take a vote for each one of those. We'll first hold a vote for Patty Lamb, and then we'll do a vote for Scott Pierce. So, I need a show of hands, and then Tyler, if you'll call the roll after that for votes for Patty Lamb.
Aye.
We got Dwight. Go ahead, Tyler.
Dwight Richards,
Yes,
Mitchell Markham, Tony Wright,
Yes.
Barry Covey,
No.
Gail,
Yes.
William Wright.
Yes.
So if we've got 5 votes, that's gonna be, it takes 4 for the majority. So we've got 4 votes for Patty. So if, I just need to make a motion that we have a nomination for Patty Lamb to be elected to the IDA board. So I need a motion,
I'll make that motion.
and I need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So Patty Lamb, I guess, will be our representative on the IDA board. And that starts in March, so she will be your new representative. The only thing I have is just discussion of, we had a Lake Fest meeting tonight, and we have discussed entertainment and stuff for that. So that'll be, we'll probably do 2 or 3 more meetings before that comes into effect. So any ideas or anything that anybody has for Lake Fest that they want to present? we'll do that. I don't really have anything else. Do you all or anybody out
I'd like to
there?
speak,
Okay,
if that's possible.
sure.
I just feel that, you know, of course, I'm not trying to make anybody mad, but I do care about the county. And the boards in the county, in my opinion, mean as much as any position, that even elected positions. I'm not for sure exactly how you all went about, you know, with Patty, you know, coming up with her name. I mentioned to Barry and some others that my dad, Roy Lee, was interested in possibly doing it. And, you know, he's been here 50 years doing business. And he's been a staple of the community. And he's a huge asset, you know, to the community. Most of y'all probably know that we recently made a deal with the IDA board to purchase the drag strip. I brought on Danny McLaughlin from Mac Metals. Danny's a prominent guy over in Somerset. After setting a couple of the IDA meetings, you know, a couple of people came up to me and said, hey, you know, this position is coming up. And I wasn't aware if Scott was going to be back on or not. But my dad's name came up. And I mentioned it to him, and I said, you know, Dad, this is perfect for you, you know. And he thought about it, he said, yeah, he said, I can tell you one thing, if I was appointed, you know, and nominated and appointed, that I can make something happen. And I think each and every one of y'all know that he is more than qualified. Nothing against Patty, love her to death, she's a good lady. Nothing against Scott. But I think that he can bring a lot to the table that nobody else can in this community. And I'm just kind of disappointed that you didn't at least bring his name up, you know. The other thing is, along with the drag strip, Danielle can confirm this. I was approached by some friends since we purchased the drag strip, and then I let them know, hey, if that goes through, there's also potentially a sports complex coming, and there's going to be a need for a hotel. So he said, set the meeting up, and so I called Randy, the judge, called Danielle, because that's her, you know, her job, and the next day they had a meeting. So there is going to be probably 2 hotels coming, Holiday Inn Express and Extended Stay, and Jamestown was on I showed them some property there by Jack Hudson.
Which one?
Where the Chris Stapps is there.
The middle
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So, you know, that was on the table. Danny also was talking about, you know, bringing, that's why Cobb's here. He recently just purchased a house, Steve Thomas's house, and he's a builder. He builds some really super nice barndominiums. Daniel can confirm that. Where I've got the RV park, we're talking about doing some cabins there, and possibly another 100 RV hookups at the drag strip. But Danny, when he came to the IDA board meeting, he said, what does Russell County need if I come here? Because he's interested. And one of the big things was, you know, industry, our hands are kind of tied because of the workforce. We understand that. So, you know, we're shooting for jobs, you know, 10 to 20 jobs, businesses that can do that. Because, you know, you got Bruce Snyder, Terry Stevens, Davis Gay. You don't need to hurt their businesses that are already here, obviously. But Danny's like, well, I can build some spec buildings. I'm willing to do that. But the main goal was housing. You know, Dr. Snyder's and Bruce, or Motherson now, they had a lot of temp workers come in. A lot of them came to the gym. They had no place to stay, you know. So, and I think Brett, is it Brett or the Aaron guy? What's Chad Aaron? I mean, he's building apartments all the time, but he can only build so many, I'm sure. But Danny was like, hey, you know, I'll build them. You know, if y'all need them, we'll build them. So, you know, in my opinion, I think everybody knows me and knows my dad. I just feel like you know, I don't mess around. When I do something, I do it. My dad's the same way. And a lot of these boards, I mean, Patty's on already 2 or 3 boards. I just think it's a conflict of interest. They need to, you know, be on one board and not 2 or 3 and focus on that. And it just infuriates me to a certain extent. And it's disappointing that you all knew that he was interested in it. I think Tadpole, my dad may have gave you your first job.
Well, he didn't
as
get
a
the first
truck
one, but he's always been very good.
And it's just disappointing because I know that he could make a difference. I'm not saying Patty can't, and I'm not saying Scott did, but I know what he's capable of doing, and I think all of you all do too. And it's kind of slap in the face, you know, in my opinion. And I'm not here to make anybody mad, but, you know, it is what it is. I speak the truth, and I think everybody knows that. The other thing I was going to mention is Magnus here. I don't know if any of y'all have even talked to him yet, but he's getting ready to have a new business here. And I played softball with Magnus, and he come from New Jersey. And we've known each other for quite a while now. And I told him, hey, come to the meeting, let him know, you know, introduce yourself. Same thing with Cobb. But, you know, I may run for judge again, and I'm not saying I'm going to. I don't know, depends if Terry pushes me to do it again. Or Randy, it's not about that. I care about the community, and I want what's best for the community.
Right.
And you know, when I made that post, I wasn't trying to make you mad, but that's the way I work, you know, and that's how we got the drag strip. You know, I had to get everybody on board, and Danielle can tell you, I mean, I have to rally up the troops sometimes, and I don't care to be that guy. So, and that's just how I am, you know. But it's disappointing that y'all didn't choose him, and that's fine, you know, we can get over it and go on, but I am working behind the scenes to try to make Russell County better, and Dad was really open to be a part of that. So, you know, it is what it is.
Well, we're open. We want as many people that can come to meetings and give us ideas and
Yeah.
stuff, you know, we're open to helping. Our whole goal is to promote Jamestown and the whole county, and anything that we can do to help with that, we're gonna try to do it.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that we need to work on, and maybe the media here can help that, is I don't think anybody knew about this being appointed for the IDA board. I think that, you know, the newspaper, social media, you all personally need to go out and say, because it's hard to get people to want to be on boards, and that's why they have to be on 2 or 3 boards. But if, you know, I've got a thing in the gym, I've got a 5-day pass, and what I do is I get referrals. I get to say, hey, here, Kyle, go give these to 5 of your buddies, and then they tell 5, and then it goes from there. But it's almost like, you know, everybody just wants the same old, and they're content. You know, half the county wants it to grow, half the county doesn't.
Right.
Half the county likes tourism, half of them doesn't. So I get that, but we have to be, you know, progressive as far as growth and positive growth, you know, and I feel like that the boards, the people we're putting on the boards, we're not getting that, you know.
And I have to disagree a little bit there with the part of a month ago at the meeting here, we discussed that there was going to be an opening on the IDA board. And that gave everybody on the council a month to
Yeah, I
talk
mean,
to
did you
people,
work with
or if there was people
constituents?
that they wanted to go on the board, or
Yeah.
anybody that, you know, approached them that wanted to go on the board, because the IDA board meetings are held every month, the
Yeah.
city council meetings are held every month. It's stuff on the news the next morning, every day after, you know, about what's went on. So I feel like that everybody, you know.
Did anybody
took
have
the-
constituents come to them though, and really, you know, give you, other than Patty? I mean, how did y'all come up with Patty is what I want to know. I mean, was that your idea? Was that a group effort, or did you have a bunch of constituents say, we want Patty Lamb? I mean, really,
I
just
didn't
be
call
honest.
anybody, but nobody's called me, and I didn't call anybody.
Yeah, well, see, that's disappointing in my opinion. I feel like you all should have said, hey, you know, being excited, this nominee's coming up, this is big for the community, and we need to get the right person for the job. If I'm on an airplane and Kyle's sitting here beside me, I don't want him to go up and land the airplane. I want the best person for the job, you know, and that's probably not gonna be Kyle, I don't know. So, And the IDA board, I mean, that's why nothing's come to this county, in my opinion. We're spinning our tires, you know? And there's not a person in here who can tell me that Dad wouldn't have been the best person for the job. Not just because he's my dad. I think each and every one of you know him and know that he was more than qualified. And like I said, nothing against Patty, but there's a difference in signing the front of a check and the back of a check.
But what
So-
are you saying are the qualifications to be on there? I mean,
Well, you need to,
I'm guessing, you know.
in my opinion, you need to have owned a business, sign the front of the check, not the back of the check. You know, and negotiations, Dad's not dealt with just millionaires, he's dealt with billionaires on deals. I doubt anybody in this room has done that. He's more than qualified, he's probably overqualified for the position, but he was willing to do it. And I just feel like it's a huge slap in the face to my dad, you
Do you
know?
feel like Patty's not qualified?
No, I didn't.
I mean,
Okay.
and then this is
In my
just open
opinion,
for discussion.
in my opinion, I don't
Patty's
think
not.
that she can negotiate a deal like my dad or some other people. I just don't think it's in her, and I think she's great, she's made for, you know, certain things, but as far as going out to lunch and being a hard nose and making a deal come through and getting a company here that we need, it's not gonna happen, and it would with him, you know?
Do you think there's other people in the city?
Oh,
that have
absolutely.
the
There's
same
plenty of other people.
qualifications? And here's what you get into. Very few people who want to.
There is.
Very limited.
And that's why I told Barry, I said, hey, Dad's interested in it, you know? But I just feel like the buddy system is overplayed in Russell County. It's the good old boy, you know, I go to church with them, or I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't care about that. All I care about is what's best for Russell County. And I think each and every one of you all are appointed or elected because the constituents are hoping that's what you're going to stand for. You know, and if you're appointed or elected and you have this ideology against your constituents, but the majority of the constituents want that idea, then you should say, hey, I disagree, but that's what they want, and that's how I'm going to vote. But I don't think that there's a lot of people in this county that will do that, and that's disappointing in my opinion. So, I mean, like I said, I'm just disappointed. Dad's going to be disappointed. We're not going to think any less of any of you all. I mean, you know, I'll still sit down and help you all any way I can. But that's the problem with Russell County, is it's, you know, we worry about hurting people's feelings. And sometimes you just got to put your feelings aside and do what's right for the county. And I think you're all making a huge mistake. And like I said, no disrespect to Patty, no disrespect to Scott Pierce. I think he was the best man for the job. And if there's somebody better than Dad, I'd say, hey, you know, Dad, they're better than you. You need to step aside. And I think Tyler would agree. I mean, everybody knows him, you know. His office is right over there. So.
Well, speaking for myself, my vote for Patty is not a vote against Scott or a vote against Roy Lee. I've known Roy Lee
Yeah, I
all my
understand
life. I've known Roy Lee all my life. I think the world of him.
Yeah.
And he's a fine businessman.
Yeah.
But again, nobody approached me, nobody called me and, you know,
Well,
asked me to support anybody.
anybody talk
I think-
about it? I mean, say, hey, Roy Lee's going to run against you, or, you know, be appointed too, or Scott Pierce, do you think that, you know, that you're better than them? And what's, you know, at it? I mean, I don't like the idea of people being on numerous boards. I think that's a bad idea. I think you
Well,
need to
what
devote your
board is
time.
Patty on?
She's on the ambulance board, she's on the Chamber of Commerce, and she was on the library, I think.
Okay.
I just don't
Chamber of
think-
Commerce is not a board.
Yeah, it is.
No, it ain't.
It's a board, but it's not a political, it's
Right.
elected by
You pay a
members of the
membership.
chamber.
Yeah, it's still a board.
They have elected, you have a board that has seats, but it's not elected.
And they elect, they pick the.
But regardless, her attention's going,
The members elect their own.
but regardless, her attention's going in other directions. I think you need to be devoted to that board and that board only.
Well, I think she will be.
Well, how should she's on other boards?
I mean, where's the conflict between the ambulance board?
I'm not saying there's a
and-
conflict, I'm just saying, you know.
I mean, but what about the guys, what about the ambulance board would distract her from doing what she needs to do?
Well, I mean, just the time, the effort, the work, you know, work ethic.
But
you
she's
know.
retired now, and.
I get that. I get that.
You got, we can't come in here and say, we're making a rule that people can't be on.
No, I understand that. It's just the
We can't
ideology.
do that, you
It's just
know.
the ideology of it.
And there's numerous people I know that's
Yeah.
on different boards.
And there are, and the problem is because we don't have enough people that want to be on.
That's
boards.
right, that's exactly
And that's what
right.
I'm saying, it's just, I think that it needs to be promoted, marketed, and you all need to say, hey, this is coming up. Let's try to go out and find people, because that's the problem with Russell County, is we just think it's gonna come here and fall in our lap. That don't work that way. I own 5 businesses now. I'm spread really super thin, but I always find a way to keep moving, keep going forward. That's just me. That's how my dad is.
Okay, let me ask this, man. Terry, who are your all's 2 IDA? Who are your all's IDA members?
Scott Pierce is one of them.
Oh,
Scott
Scott
was there.
Jamestown,
Oh, on our IDA board
for the county.
for
Yeah.
the county, be careful with you. I don't know because we elected somebody the other day.
See, there was another one that you
Yeah.
didn't know about that Roy could have been part of.
Yeah.
And we
Russell
have another-
Springs has to.
I
We
think
have
Roy
another.
would be a great appointment.
I do too.
You know,
Well, I mean, I
But
know.
I had already committed myself to begin
I
with.
get that, where you had said that,
Rodney Johnson that they replaced.
yeah, they replaced him, yeah.
It's Clint Bowles and, on the county.
Yeah.
And
Clean, but.
Greg
used to be Rodney Johnson.
Yeah. But like you said, well, hopefully Roy can be in 2 years. Roy's 73 years old. Roy's only gonna be here so long.
Nah, come on
And,
now.
well, if he would get his butt to the gym, he may help. But what I'm saying is he wanted to do it now, and I felt like Patty was the younger one, maybe she could do it in 2 years. But I just know that Dad was, he can get stuff done. I mean,
Did
Where you're talking about
Did he
with the
contact
same old
anybody?
thing, that's one reason I'm in favor of changing from Scott to somebody else, and that was
Yeah.
the reason I talked to Patty and asked her if she was interested,
Yeah.
yes, she was.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, as far as my vote for Patty, it's not a good old boys thing. I know Patty when I see her, but I don't really know her that well.
Yeah.
You know, we're not on each other's Christmas card list or anything.
I just think that if you put up the resumes on business and negotiations, there's, it doesn't compare. It's
Well,
apples.
there's not any one board member that does all the
Oh,
negotiating.
no, I get that. I get that 100%.
And you have a
But you
head
said
of that
something
board
about
that does
Dad,
most
you
of
know,
that.
she could bring the baking and the spreadsheets. Well, my dad, trust me, can read spreadsheets. He understands.
I'm sure he can.
He understands how to, budget. Anybody in business, Terry can tell you this. When you own the business and your butt's on the line, you better know how to budget and read a spreadsheet, because if you don't, you ain't gonna be in business long. So, but I just think the county, both cities, everybody, I just think we need some young blood, and some people to be motivated and push, and I'm not saying my dad's young, but
I was gonna say,
but
you're contradicting yourself.
I can be the young blood to push it a little bit on it.
Well, I appreciate
So-
everything you do for the
Yeah.
community.
And I know I rub people wrong, but hey, I'm a straight shooter. You
Well,
know,
I appreciate, for one, I appreciate
I think this guy
everything
does that too.
that you do and have done
So,
for the community.
yeah.
I know you collected food for, and clothes for
I just
the
get-
flood victims and tornado
Yeah,
victims, you know.
and I appreciate it, and I'm always gonna do that no matter what. So, but I just think that maybe some of the people on these boards and in the city council and the city government need to look for people like me, that want to make a change in a good way, in a positive way. We're getting too much the same old, like you said, So, like I said, I'm not here to make anybody mad. I am disappointed, but I think it was a missed opportunity. But other than that, I'm still gonna do what I do. And hopefully we can do something with Cobb, and hopefully his business does really good. I hope y'all let him talk about his business real quick. And hopefully we get some hotels here and a restaurant.
And I think, just referring back to the sports complex, I think there's so many misconceptions there of what actually is being looked at.
So the whole thing with that was, because I was part of that too. I don't know if y'all know, I'm a part of a lot of things behind the scenes. The sports complex was supposed to be shoot for the sky. They needed it to be a big number. So we got a big number, $30 million, okay? Then a $20 million. obviously, we should be able to do that for under 10 million, probably 5 to 10. I guarantee you,
That's right.
Nestle can build some ball fields for a lot cheaper than that. Coach Rexroad has ties to AstroTurf, everybody knows that. And I've got ties directly to the USSSA. You know, I know the guy that runs the whole USSSA, the whole thing. Me and John Carl used to play softball with him. So, but I think that the people in the county, I think Matt George made a post or something about it, and he didn't understand that we wanted a high number to try to get the grant money. Okay, and the IDA board, when they read the numbers, they were like, well, how are we gonna pay for this? Well, we're not gonna pay for a $30 million complex and get, and not break even for 6 years. Obviously, we're gonna try to get that number from 30 down to 10 or something and recoup that money in 2 years or 3 years, for the community. And I think that's doable. But I just think that there's so much misconception, like you said, that a lot of people don't understand unless you put it in crayon. And I don't articulate it the best, but I understand it in my head how it works. But there's a lot of people that don't. And sometimes you gotta write it out in crayon. Me and Randy, the judge, has this conversation a lot. It's like, listen, when you bring an idea up, you got to sometimes think not just how you say it, but how you're gonna tell your magistrates that they need to approach the constituents how to say it. Because people, you tell, the old game where you tell one person, by the 10th person it's completely different. That's what happens, So, but
I think the process behind that whole thing is that there's been so many efforts where everybody knows that Russell County needs
a hotel.
hotels and
Yeah.
places, and they would like to have a lot more places to eat and stuff. And when you bring all the people, this sports complex, mine said, I think is based on a lot of your travel teams and
Yes.
stuff. And bringing people, where all your people from Russell County is going to different counties.
Yes.
And promoting those counties and eating at those restaurants. The thought process is to try to bring those people to Russell County.
Exactly, yes.
And when we're not getting anywhere by trying to get big businesses in because we don't have the
We don't have the workforce.
employment
No.
to do that. So then you gotta look at different avenues. What's gonna bring those hotels in, what's gonna bring those restaurants in. Hopefully,
And that's
if you
why,
can, and
that's why I made the call on the drag strip. I told my buddy, I said, listen, he's got, I think, how many hotels was it now? He had 15 hotels. He just won an award for, what was it, the best motel something he came up with. Where he does 2 hotels side by side in the restaurant or something. He won some kind of award. And he's his own investor. And I said, hey, if I get the drag strip, we have 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 people show up at that event. We're gonna do 3 events and maybe 1 Harley drags this year, Harley Festival. So you got four festivals, going on. And then that's gonna be thousands of people that are gonna need to eat, sleep, stay somewhere, spend money, and they will spend money. And then I said, hey, and the sports complex could also come in eventually. Then you got Bruce and Snyder's and all the executives at the hospital that are gonna be coming. And you got the Parkway, which triples the demographics, We're very lucky to have the Parkway. So, and I'm a pretty good salesperson, and when I told him about that, he said, hey, I'm gonna look at it. He said, give me a meeting, so I did. And they came to me. They didn't come to anybody else, they came to me. And Danielle can vouch for that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying, I get stuff done, and I know my dad would too, The other thing I've got coming is hopefully a TV show, the TV show Pinks and Pastime. And Dad called me on the way here, and he said that he called Dish Network, Charlie Ergen, the billionaire, and he said that they've got a deal in the works. So, who else can do that around here? Nobody, So I just think there's a missed opportunity. It is what it is, Maybe y'all can get him on later, but definitely I wish you all would have thought it and not made promises. I just hate when people make promises. I think that it needs to be thought through to the last second, and the best person should always get it, in my opinion.
As far as promises, you mean promising somebody a position?
Well, I mean, like he said he already made his mind up and decided.
But
Before.
that's a promise.
That's just me.
Well, I understand that, but that's what I'm saying. You had made your mind up. And So
Well, when I
that's
go out and I talk to somebody, just like if you go out and talk to somebody,
Yeah,
I expect my word to stand with that person.
and I understand that, but if somebody applies for the job that's better the week later, before you vote on it, hey, I might change my mind, that's part of it. And
Good.
you're all, this is a big boy job, big girl job, and, you know, you gotta take the heat, you know, you gotta be able to take the heat. If you can, you know, you shouldn't be sitting there. And I'm not saying you can't, but I'm just saying, there should be Landons come in here almost every meeting doing this. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to, but I just think that everybody needs to be on their toes and be, you know, doing the best job they can. So,
And I will say this, since you want to be truthful about stuff,
yeah,
Roy never contacted me, you did.
I did, right. And I told Barry,
Roy isn't here tonight. If he's that passionate about it, he would have been here tonight.
no, he had a doctor's appointment in Louisville. That's why he told me to stand in and talk for him. And he said that he had confidence that if you all thought he was the best person for the job, then you would vote him in. And obviously you didn't, so that's fine. And that's my dad, you know, he's gonna say, hey, they lost out. You all missed the opportunity, not him. And that's the way I feel about it. I think that you'll see that. But it is what it is, like I said, but that's all I've got to say. And I'm gonna keep working for the county, both cities, and do what I can. I really probably don't want to get to be in politics because I make a lot more money outside of politics. And can probably do a lot more behind the scenes, you know, and that's just the way I look at it.
Well, you know better than that. Terry's about retired from being
I don't
being
know.
on.
My phone rings a lot, so.
He's just almost ready to retire because all the money he's made from being on the fiscal
Yeah.
court.
But I would like you all to let Magnus say some stuff about his business. It's getting
We're
ready.
waiting on you to get done.
Yeah, I'm done. Y'all heard, I mean, I'm done. So.
Yeah, we're glad to hear about it.
For sure. Well, I'm more of the talker. Mag's more of the sales marketing guy, right? So I'll kind of take the lead. But, you know, thanks for having us tonight. We wanted to be here sooner, but we were hoping to make a little progress, you know, on our venture before we showed up. But, you know, I'm Courtney Polera, Magnus Polera, for those that don't know us. We moved here about 3 years ago from New Jersey with our 2 boys, and Army veteran, I'm a nurse. We've, you know, been very fortunate in our 40 plus years of life now to be in a situation where we came down here, and I might get emotional talking about this, but, you know, many people told us you shouldn't put this business in Jamestown. You shouldn't put this business in Russell County at all, right? Because they're just stuck, right? They're stuck. There's nothing there. You'll never make your money back. And I can tell you that the reason that we are establishing this business here is not because we're looking to make our money back. We are very community-oriented, family-oriented, sports-oriented people. We love community, and we are now thankful enough to bring this to the community of Jamestown and Russell County and Russell Springs. I don't want to give too much detail at this time because we're still closing the loop on, you know, what exactly is going inside. We do have it honed down pretty well, but, you know, rumors can fly, as we all know, right? So don't want to give too much, but we are very much a sports-oriented, family-oriented business. We want anybody who plays sports, doesn't play sports, to be able to come in and have a good time and not have to get in their car and drive 30 minutes to an hour to have some fun. Right. We're very, very passionate about it. We're excited to open. We have hit some roadblocks, but we've worked hard to get through them. So as you can see, we are making, I think it's this way, right? I'm pointing over here, but you know, we are making progress. We have some steel up and going. Yes. Right. So, you know, we're really, really passionate about this and about this community. And, you know, I echo everything that Landon said, and just, we want so badly for this community to thrive and take off because the opportunity is there. And I know, you know, I can say this coming from the Northeast, right? We came down here for a reason. We love it here. And as scary as it might be for change and for things like this to start coming in, the opportunity just for growth and jobs within the community, I think that's what we're so passionate about too, is being able to offer jobs to people in the community and locally, and people don't have to leave and for employment or work 2 jobs, right? So I could go on, but we're just, very excited to introduce ourselves and just, put a face to kind of the location and, give you an idea of what's to come. We are hoping to be open.
And we're also hoping, we're hoping to run into somebody from the town that is actually eager enough to find out what we're doing. We've been there for over a year, and not one person, except for Tyler, 3 people, Tyler, HK, and Barry, have talked to us about it.
I talked to you last year.
You did.
Debbie has kept us kind of informed about what's going on there.
Yes, ma'am, and Debbie's sitting behind us, right, you guys?
Yes.
So it's just, we've been, not killing ourselves, but we've been working very hard out there, and nobody from the town has come to even say like, hey, how you doing? Is there anything we can do? What do you guys got going on here? So it's that worries us when you start appointing people in a position who have maybe just kind of lost their love for the position. Somebody to actually go out there and get something done, as opposed to, like you said, just hoping it happens. We are trying to get these young children out from thinking that they have no life ahead of them. Okay, and I really do not mean any disrespect by saying this, but I spent 16 years in the military. I've seen guys from the worst ghettos to guys who have been born in a ditch behind a barn somewhere. And when you bring people together and actually give them something to look forward to, you get surprised every once in a while. These kids out here, they're kind of walking around dead and lost, right? And we want to bring something to the community that they can actually come to and enjoy themselves. Instead of just going down to the park until it gets dark, instead of just sitting on their front porch drinking all day. I think all of us together need to step our game up and do a little something more. And we would love to work with you guys to try and do that for the whole community.
We appreciate you coming here, and whatever we can do to help, whenever you have any questions or anything that we can do to help promote, when you want to, I've had a couple people ask me what was going in there, and I said, all I know, or all I've been told at this point is it's going to be to do with sports, but I don't know what all is going to be involved in.
I can clear it up a little bit better, right? We are a baseball, softball, golf simulation type of facility with a sports bar. Okay,
Small bar. It's
yes,
not our
we will be
focus.
having outdoor entertainment, pickleball courts. Our goal is to bring that Lake Cumberland feel over here to Jamestown, right? Everybody has to go through the bypass for the most part, right? You can only hang out at the lake for so long until the kids get sunburned and they're tired of it. Well, these people need somewhere to go with their kids. 5 Star's not really that exciting, So come on down. The name of our company is called Live the Dream. And that's basically what we're trying to do.
What's the name of it, Matt?
Live the Dream.
Live the dream.
Yes, ma'am. And that's what we really want to do. We want to help bring people to Jamestown. You guys have a beautiful town here, and we are not in any shape or form trying to bring our northern ways down here. Because if we liked those ways, we would have stayed there, to be completely honest, okay? The small town, the people, everybody knowing each other is beautiful. But what happens sometimes is people get scared to kind of step out of their comfort zone because, like it was said before, they don't want to upset anybody. We got to get over that, right? We got to start stepping up for these children and for these young adults to give them something to look forward to. And in the end, that's what we're trying to do.
I, for one, am very excited to be able to promote this very soon. I told you last year, we don't have anything like that off the water.
Right.
Like mini Indy, there's
Right.
the city parks and stuff like that, but it's open to the public without having to have like a party. The other places you have to pay just to have a party, it's not open.
Right, to sit in a room and bounce on something. I get it.
So,
I get it.
so
Yeah.
we're very excited for you.
Thank you.
And
And
welcome to our community.
Thank you.
thank you.
We want to do the movie night thing too. We have.
We have hundreds of plans to help, but our goal is to help Jamestown, right? We were offered spots in Somerset to put, we've talked to the guys, from the chamber out there in Somerset, and really nice people, super nice people, but we live here, right? And we've always been community people, no matter where we've lived. Where I take my boots off, that's what gets it, right?
Right.
So why not Jamestown? right? There should be no roadblocks, there should be no problems except, okay, state of Kentucky, what do we need to get done? Thank you, come again.
Well, and, you know, people can say, don't put stuff in Jamestown because your people's not gonna support it. People can tell you that.
Look at Real
but
Java.
Let's look at Real Java and let's look at Snaps in the restaurants. I come home from work many a night at 5 o'clock on Friday and never seen a car in Jamestown for years.
Real Java proved me wrong.
You come now to
You know, I have
Jamestown
my
on
doubts.
Friday and Saturday night, and you'll circle to try to find somewhere to park. So it's a proven fact that people will support it
Right.
if it's there and it's something that,
It's done right.
you know, that's done. Yeah,
If
exactly.
you build it, they will come.
That's right, that's exactly right. And
Meg?
back to just real quick about the sports complex, just to throw this in, I think that's a big part also of, there is talk about all the outdoor travel teams and stuff coming in here, but there's also, in that plan, a huge building that's 40-something thousand square feet that's hoping to be developed to give kids something to do all the time. Not every kid's interested in sports.
Yeah.
Right.
But, you know, we can get, there's talks of trying to get a bowling alley inside that building, maybe a small skating rink, a thing for kids to come in.
And that's totally our angle too. Our angle is not for it to be a baseball, softball training facility.
Right.
Diversify.
We are literally going over the entertainment aspect. Like, we will have kiosks in our building where you can just, you know, the guy who gets off working 50 hours a week and he just wants to spend time with his kid because he only gets him every other weekend or something.
Right.
He can come in there with some dirty boots and sit his kid down and just have a good time. He doesn't have to worry about if his kid's an all-star in a baseball team and he can hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He can literally go in there and watch his kid play and enjoy himself and get involved in himself while he's having a cool.
And don't get me wrong, we have that aspect, right? We're very
but that's not
technological based where we will have that aspect of intense training, you know, for the
Right.
wonderful baseball community that we have here, but it will serve the community as well.
And I think the more possibilities you've got in there, it's just gonna attract more people. Everything that you add to it, any kind of, you know, whatever you've got, different activities or whatever it is, it's gonna attract more people to, because you've got people who's got different interests.
Magnus, I will tell you this, you're probably not aware of it, but when I ran for judge, because I've always done stuff in the community, like I said, but I had a kids' day at Mini. And what I did, I think I came to Regena at the bank, went to all the banks and made a Facebook post and got everybody to donate, and I threw my own money in too. But we gave them, all the less fortunate kids, a free day at there, tokens, everything paid for. I think we had 350 plus kids show up.
Yeah.
So it's huge. Then we had some speakers come about, you know, the drugs and stuff, how to keep children off drugs and that kind of thing. But I would be more than happy to help you whenever you all launch that, to maybe do a free kids day. And then I'll go out and hustle up some businesses.
Yeah, we want to do camps and, you
Yeah,
know, camps
yeah.
for kids, just
Yeah,
everything.
and make it a group effort. I think everybody here would
Vincent
support
and his
that.
father have been kind of like in the forefront of helping us through this. You know, it's like, we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for the two of them, to be honest.
Right.
So,
And we appreciate that. Anything that, you know, and it's not, we say all the time, we are in Jamestown and we want to promote Jamestown as much as we can, but it's a county-wide thing, you know, it's Russell County. If we can help do something to help Russell Springs out, we're gonna do it. You know, it's all part of helping the whole county, not just because we're in Jamestown, we don't want just to promote Jamestown. We want to promote all of it. Jamestown's our big thing. Yes, we want, you know, Jamestown to do as good as possible. Anything we can get in here to help bring people in, we try to do.
Well, thank you, and we'll come, you know, we'll continue to come and give updates.
Yes, we'd like to get those, and any time that once you get some updates and want us to help to get the information out there, you know, we'll be glad. We just don't want to overstep and tell something that you don't want until you know for sure what you're doing, you know. So, but, yeah, we'll help in any way, and anytime you want to contact any of us, just.
And Cobb City's willing to build whatever, so.
You ready to do some?
No, that's land and selling.
Do you have anything you want to?
No, I was just, I'm a transplant from up the road, Mercer County, Harrisburg, and been coming down here since the 80s, you know, fishing, putting in at the dam. Love what happened at the dam with the new ramp and all that stuff. And just met a lot of people.
Landon's property's right down the road from ours, and you know, we started out just building Airbnbs, but got a lot of interest, so we just started selling as residences. And we still got some projects, and I've spoken with some realtors in this area, just, you know, what do you need for housing? Because there isn't. I mean, there's such a shortage, and that the little property that we're buying has got a lot next to it. We're gonna build a 3-2 on it, just, you know, because I spoke with, is it Darren Gossage?
Yes.
Like, you know, what do you need down here? And, I mean, I've transplanted my life, I love the area, the topography, and, you know, the lake, obviously. But it's just a lot of potential, but I see the same stuff in Aaron'sburg, just the lack of workforce. It's tough to grow. And you need some forward-thinking people, and, you know, Landon obviously takes the initiative and is, you know, got a lot of big ideas, but I don't know anybody in this room real well, but I know everything he's ever said, that he's done, you know, it's validated. And, you know, my wife and I are here now, so we just want to be an integral part, or do our part. We're community oriented, want to get plugged in, church, people,
Right.
all that good stuff, so.
Well, we're glad to have you, and anything, there's tons of housing that, you know, we need. There's always gonna be a need, I think, for all that stuff, and right now, even back to hotels and stuff, you know, we have a hard time when we have Lake Fest, people, we have to take them to Columbia sometime to get a room for them because there's nothing here. you
I
know.
think Motherson and Snyder's and Bruce have hotels, rooms over there year round.
Yeah.
And that's sad.
I think it's just a good plan for small, I mean, I grew up in small spaces, small communities. You just gotta have the right mindset for growth to keep your charm. I mean, that's why people come, you know, you like the small town life, and wherever you come here and stay here. And nobody wants it to get out of hand and be uncontrollable, but there is, you know, I think there's room for both.
Right.
Landon, I'm sure you remember during the Revive Russell, we were told that Dr. Snyder's at the time actually spent, you know, a couple $100,000 a year on motel rooms in Alaska County.
Yes.
Because
They
bring their people in from Germany, and there's no place for them to stay. And
Exactly.
A friend of mine, he was the Homeland Security Director for the state of Kentucky at one point in time. He's a member of a committee. They've been looking, they're bringing us a Swiss company with some super high-tech. Of course, Harrisburg's got a lot of high-tech stuff that if you don't know what's going on in the companies, it's pretty impressive. I even had them come down here, there just wasn't a facility big enough, and they're making, well, they'll probably end up buying the old Donnelly plant in Danville, and I think it's 600 acres along with that to bring that in. But they'll need distribution, they'll need, you know, some sub and off-site work, and, you know, it's just, I keep telling them, come to Russell County and see what we can do.
That's where we need to focus on the smaller scale, 10 to 20 jobs, because we, obviously, you know, a lot of people have mixed feelings about Terry Stevens, but without Stevens Pipe, this county would be dead, you know? So, you know, we have to support Terry, we have to support Bruce, we have to support Snyder, Davis's. The ones that are already here, we have to keep them, you know, supporting them, not hurt them. But at the same time, we can use our heads and bring, you know, smaller scale businesses here. And that's where I think the IDA board, that they need to look at that, because the big businesses is not gonna happen until we get the workforce. And obviously we need the housing. So we all need to work together on this.
That's
and
right.
when we leave this room, no hard feelings,
No.
but I think there's a lot of good ideas, you know, so.
And it takes everybody coming in and talking sometimes
Yeah.
for things to
Yeah.
come up and to happen, because, you know, we struggle getting people to come to a council meeting.
Yeah,
This
I'm
is
sure this
more
is
than
out of the
that.
norm.
This is out there,
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know.
and, you know, when anybody's got anything on
they
their
said the same
mind.
thing at the IDA board meeting whenever I brought Danny and a bunch of other people, so. But out of the norm is good, so.
Yeah, we're open anytime to listen to any thoughts or whatever anybody's got going on. Anything we can help do, you know, just contact us and we'll try our best to help with whatever promoting or anything that we can do to help do that, so.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Glad to have you all. Glad to have you also. Anybody else have anything? Okay?
Yes. Good evening. My name is Mark Potabom, and I moved to Jamestown back in July. And first of all, thank you for your wonderful administration of the city. It's great. I came from North Cincinnati, Ohio, and things are getting bad up there. I'd like to give you all a handout, and I can talk while I'm handing it out, that's okay.
Sure, absolutely.
All right. I recently read that the state of Kentucky, the governor has legalized medical marijuana. So I guess I missed that bus, a little bit late on that. But my concern is recreational marijuana. And I have some documentation here. This is a study from Johns Hopkins University. And I'll give you my copy when I'm done. I didn't make it up, I'm sorry. And I just want to read a few highlights from this study and share some personal thoughts, and I'll be done. If you look at the second page, you'll see in that first paragraph, I've made some highlights. You see one state after another changing their laws over time. You see a change in social norms. It's clear from the national surveys that people are becoming more and more in favor of cannabis legalization. That started with medical use and now has continued into recreational use. Now, most of the studies I've read said that it always begins in states with medical use, which I think there may be a reason for that, I don't know. But then it always progresses to recreational use. And when that happens, towns and cities go to pot, literally. Now, while serving in the Navy, I was stationed in Washington, D.C. and Naples, Italy. I wasn't in the real Navy, I was in the CIS, I was never on a boat. But in D.C., I was in the Southeast, which is the ghetto of D.C. Right? So I've seen communities fall into drug use and just decay. And in Naples, Italy, the Navy calls that the armpit of the world. I mean, we would go out running, especially I was in charge of the PT program in D.C., and we'd go out running in the Southeast, and I would say, don't fall behind, you'll probably get bugged. And that was serious. So everybody passed their testing for that, it was great. But in Naples, it's the same way. Naples is, like I said, the armpit of the world, it's disgusting. People shooting up on the street. So, it starts as medical use and continues to recreational use. Now, we have to keep that out of this city. I don't know if there's anything we can do about the medical, because the medical is already state law, but if there's anything we can do to prevent the recreational use of marijuana, we got to prevent it. All right, let me give you a few more facts here. Down at the bottom, the last line of the page, we know cannabis can trigger psychotic symptoms and potentially longer lasting problems with psychosis and schizophrenia, right? Marijuana is a drug. People say it's light, it's not bad, it's a gateway drug. All right, you start there, you get worse. The next thing is cocaine, the next thing is crack, it gets worse and worse. All right? So I don't agree with the medical, like I said, that's already a law, but we got to keep it recreational out of the city. Okay, next page, down at the bottom. And I'm sorry I'm talking fast. I don't do well with crowds sometimes, sorry. The evidence from states that have legalized it has not demonstrated that we might all of a sudden see an increase in psychosis or in cannabis use disorder. This happens slowly over time with a change in social norms and availability, and potentially also with a change in marketing. And with increasing use of an addictive substance. Keep that in mind, marijuana is addictive. An addictive substance, you will see over time a potential increase in problematic use and also an increase in disorder. Right? Disorder is a crime. Right? North of Cincinnati, where I lived, every morning in the news was a body count. Right? And it happened in downtown Cincinnati and in northern Kentucky, Covington, Newport. Right? There were people dead every night. And this is just, it's Cincinnati. You know, remember the show, the BKRP back in the 70s? You know, Cincinnati used to be a wholesome place. It used to be a nice place to live. It's ghetto now. It's because of drugs. And I'm so thankful, like I said, I'm so thankful to be here. I have family here. I spent time here as a kid at the lake. You know, Gosser Ridge, you know, Gary Gosser's my cousin. Eliza Gosser was my great-grandma. So I spent time as your kid, and that's why I knew this is where I wanted to live. But once I heard about the medical marijuana, I freaked out. I thought, it's going to be just like Cincinnati in a few years. Like it says, it doesn't happen overnight. But if we allow it in here, it will happen. If it's recreational, if it's legal, this town, this wonderful city will go to pot. And it'll be a gradual decline, all right? Because I've seen it. Washington DC, Naples, Italy, you don't want to be there. Like I said, Southeast DC is ghetto. Drugs everywhere on the street. Naples, drugs everywhere on the street. So I ask you, I implore you, please don't let this happen to Jamestown. I mean, the medical may be here, but fight the recreational marijuana. Do whatever you can to stop it. Because if you don't, this city's gonna go to pot. And hey, I bought a house here. I want to stay there the rest of my life. I love this town. It's great. So please keep it nice and clean. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to know exactly what is supposed to be coming to Russell County in that regard.
As far as
Is
what?
there a dispensary? I mean, I've heard things, but what,
The only thing that has been so far, I think Russell Springs has gotten the draw for a dispensary and a
lab, didn't they?
A
a
lab.
lab, to where the dispensary is where you have to have a prescription, I believe, to go in and get. It's like a prescription that you have to have for any medicine that you go with a prescription from the doctor. That's, I think Russell Springs has been drawn for one of those, or both of those maybe.
But-
Both of those.
so
I
that,
think.
is that finalized for that to happen?
Yes, because it's been approved, and then that's the, unless, I guess, I'd say it's finalized, but unless the companies that is supposed to come in there decide not to come in, and that is medical purposes only. The way I understand, unless something changed, is that Kentucky, I thought in January, we're supposed to vote on whether recreational was to be voted into Kentucky, but I don't think that happened. And so I don't know when it is supposed to be brought up. I thought it
I
was
haven't heard
January
anything
this
on
year.
recreational.
But that's.
January 1st was medical only.
Yeah.
Yes. It wasn't the recreational for us.
The recreational hasn't been to this point, that I don't know of, anything passed or anything in the state of Kentucky for
Is there
recreational.
anything that could be done here to go against that, even for the medicinal marijuana?
I think it's already been passed, in the whole state of Kentucky for that. And I don't know if you could, contact your governor or anybody that your state representatives and.
I just
but
meant in
it
terms of
has
Russell
been
County.
passed. Oh, Russell County?
Yeah.
I think the county's already voted.
County
no.
voted out for the medicine, for the municipal, but both cities elected for medical only. And of course, they can, if they have so many more labs and stuff they put in, they could come in Jamestown or Russell Springs. But that's medical purposes only. With that being said, can there be an ordinance to take that away? I think you can abolish it, down the road if that was to, but once you do that, I think that's done, right? Yeah, I think that, once you pass it, it can be abolished, but then you can't just go in and change things on it. But for the recreational, that's never been brought up, and as far as I know, it's not even been passed in the state of Kentucky yet. It's something that's, I'm sure is gonna be brought up, so probably, my thoughts is, for the recreational part, it would, ahead of time would be to get a hold of your representatives that has something to do with, Josh Branstone, Max Wise, Andy Barr, I'm not sure who all, different people that, that would be in your Senate that.
I know that he was speaking more about the recreational, but I guess my question is more about the medicinal. And I know things, like you said, have already been passed, but I wonder if there's anything we could do to try to get that to not happen in Russell County. Because I understand it's supposed to be for medicinal reasons, but my experience that I've seen that that's not been the case. Often there's ways for people, and that still ends up being a gateway drug for many people, and our people don't need that. They don't need one more problem. There's other alternatives that, that doctors and physicians and medical experts have come up with to help people with different disorders and issues and chronic pain and such, but I'm not sure marijuana is the best option for that. And again, I understand people can get a medical card and it can be legal, but that's still not the best option for people. People in our county, they don't need that. So I wish there was something we could do to speak up. I know that they've already passed things. I don't know how all that works, but I just don't think that's what's best for our people.
And I respectfully disagree. So I respectfully in the most, and I say that coming from my background of being an oncology nurse. Medical marijuana does wonders for people that have limited treatment options and are in severe pain, and that's all really they have left. So while I see both sides from a medical background, I respectfully disagree. While I do agree with the recreational use, I feel like, that can bring a whole ounce of, other issues. I feel like, in this way, marijuana is controlled, right? I mean, you need a card to get it. I think there's access to so many other drugs easily accessible, especially in this county, in this area, that I would just respectfully disagree with medicinal marijuana being completely prohibited. But again, that's just my opinion and, what I've seen in my background.
And I think that's what you do too, you have different opinions, and that's where,
It's hard, it's very difficult.
And you've got people who have used it in the past for medical purposes that may want to push for it, and then you have people, of course, that don't want it to become. So when you get into those situations, you have different opinions on different things. I agree. I mean, I just think that's with a lot of different things. But
Yeah, important to see both sides. And
yeah,
definitely.
right.
But on the recreational marijuana, that's not been passed by the state legislature yet. And they would really be the ones you would need to lobby to try to prevent that from becoming state law, recreational use becoming state law. And I don't know if that's even on the radar screen or not.
I don't think so, but now, somebody introduced a bill, I heard on the radio, that someone introduced a bill to legalize recreational marijuana. Of course, it's a long process. Who knows where it is? That's why I think it'd be important to talk to your state representative.
Yeah, I think that's
And
where,
just ask where it might be.
the best place to start, I think, on that, to talk to them.
Well, I also think if the state does legalize it, Jamestown could somehow keep it out of our city limits. I don't know if that's possible or not, but.
You can, yeah.
Okay,
It
well-
has to be passed just like the medicine did. It has to be passed as a separate ordinance for recreational.
I guess growing up as a young child, I remember, I was born in '74. My grandpa was a cop. He was shot in '68. Eventually lost a leg. Some kid on drug shot him. I was a young man. But growing up, I used to spend summers and days after school with my grandpa. He and I were real close, But he carried this little plastic vial in his pocket. He called them pain pills. He would pop those things like M&Ms. And I think now I realize now he was addicted. Now that I realize. But the doctor that he used to get them from was eventually busted and shut down. So it's we gotta stop it if we can.
Well, we have only here in Jamestown, in Russell Springs too, we have only passed medical marijuana, that if a dispensary wanted to locate it here to sell medical marijuana, we have passed an ordinance to allow that. But if the state passes the recreational marijuana, my understanding is we would have to
Have to be
have
passed.
to pass an ordinance here to allow medical or recreational marijuana.
Okay, well, we need to make sure that fails if it does come to that.
And we don't know when that'll be.
I know,
Like he
I know.
says, I think that is just now becoming an issue, or a talk issue in the state of Kentucky, and I don't know, but starting with that now, where I think you would need to be your state representatives and your people in government that is gonna have a say-so with that being passed, in the state of Kentucky. Then after, if it does get passed, then it gets to your counties and cities, just like where the municipal, you have to pass for recreational.
Well, thank you for allowing me the time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Come anytime.
Thank you for coming.
Anytime, we appreciate it. Being good conversations.
Thanks so much, Sam.
Oh,
Okay, we'll let you do that too. Anybody else have anything else they want to talk about? Open floor if anybody does. If not, last thing I have,
I'm gonna make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss a real estate matter.
okay. Okay, so I have a motion to go into executive session by Tony. Got a second by Darrell. So we will go into executive